Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. April 5, 1975, was the last day of Chiang Kai-shek's life. According to recollections from his attendants. Late that night, the weather suddenly changed, thunder and lightning roared as torrential rain poured down. The scene was extraordinary, as if the heavens themselves were mourning in unison with the earth. In reality, Chiang Kai-shek's health had already deteriorated sharply. After the Yangmingshan car accident back in 1969. He was already over 80 years old at the time. And his physical condition had clearly declined. He had to reduce his public appearances. And often skipped high-level Kuomintang meetings. According to insiders, from 1970 until his death in 1975. Chiang Kai-shek collapsed several times in his office area. Faced with this situation, he had no choice but to gradually hand over power to his son, Chiang Ching-kuo. Historical records show that Chiang Kai-shek successfully began his fifth presidential term. But during the inauguration ceremony, his condition on stage was already very weak. He was unsteady on his feet and had difficulty standing upright. And his voice during the speech was feeble and lacking strength. When he stepped off the stage after the speech, his steps were so unsteady and faltering that observers held their breath in worry. Moreover, after 1972, Chiang Kai-shek's work and lifestyle changed significantly due to his advanced age. The most noticeable change was his daily routine becoming more regular. The old Chiang, who used to work tirelessly through the night, was now going to bed around 9 p.m. and no longer woke up as early as he used to. At the same time, he frequently experienced symptoms like vomiting and physical discomfort. From that stage on, Chiang Kai-shek's personal physician, Dr. Chen Yaoan, became one of the busiest and most stressed people around him. During a comprehensive checkup, Dr. Chen discovered that several of Chiang's vital organs were beginning to fail. And his overall health was extremely concerning. Out of professional responsibility, Dr. Chen advised Chiang to rest for 6 months to prevent further deterioration. Unexpectedly, this suggestion quickly angered Madame Chiang, Song Meiling. In her view, if Chiang Kai-shek were to take a break, it would inevitably cause a power shakeup within the Kuomintang. She therefore vehemently rejected Dr. Chen's advice on the spot. From then on, Dr. Chen no longer dared to report the test results directly to Chiang Kai-shek. Instead, he would first brief Song Meiling. And only after her review would it be decided how much to disclose to Chiang and in what manner. Even though his health condition was being deliberately concealed and downplayed, Chiang Kai-shek was still vaguely aware of how serious his condition had become. Sensing something was very wrong with his body. Many of his decisions and actions in his final years were heavily influenced by Song Meiling. Chiang's intuition was correct. By the end of 1972, his condition worsened. And he began experiencing persistent high fevers. Eventually, he had no choice but to temporarily withdraw from the spotlight and focus on recovery. Because he did not appear in public for a long time, rumors began to circulate widely among the public. Some claimed that Chiang Kai-shek had already died, while others speculated that he had become a vegetable. The authority of the Chiang family began to waver. To maintain the Chiang family's political standing, Chiang Kai-shek decided to make a public appearance at an appropriate time to dispel the various rumors. The appearance needed to seem both natural and convincing, while also projecting an image of him being in reasonably good health. Eventually, the Chiang family chose the occasion of Chiang Ching-kuo's son's wedding to have Chiang Kai-shek appear as a family elder. Before the wedding, the couple visited the VIP ward in the hospital to greet Chiang and Song Meiling, and, according to tradition, served them tea. Afterwards, the family took a group portrait together. This family photo was later published in major newspapers and magazines across Taiwan. In the photo, Chiang Kai-shek appeared energetic and vigorous, showing no sign of being gravely ill. However, the truth was that this photo was taken while Chiang was receiving 4 fluids and summoning all his remaining strength to stay upright. His actual condition was far from what the photo suggested. But to calm public concerns and quash the rumors, this appearance was deemed extremely important. Moreover, this hospital stay lasted a full 2 years. It wasn't until the end of 1974 that Chiang felt slightly better and moved back to his official residence to recuperate. His life had now entered its final phase. It's worth noting that by 1974, Chiang Kai-shek had basically completed his political succession plan. His eldest son, Chiang Ching-kuo, had already been appointed premier of the Executive Yuan and had effectively taken control over Taiwan's government affairs. In today's terms, Chiang Kai-shek had publicly sent a clear signal that Chiang Ching-kuo was his designated successor. On New Year's Day in 1975, Chiang Kai-shek's condition suddenly took a sharp turn for the worse. He developed a persistent high fever accompanied by continuous vomiting. Doctors immediately conducted a thorough examination, and the results revealed that multiple organs were already in a state of severe failure. His lungs, in particular, had accumulated a significant amount of fluid, one of the main reasons for the rapid deterioration of his condition. However, Chiang was already in his 80s. For someone of such advanced age, undergoing major surgery posed immense risks. It was highly likely he might not survive the operating table. Adding to the difficulty, due to his special status, no doctor dared to perform surgery on him lightly. Yet conservative treatment alone was proving highly ineffective. As his condition worsened, everyone found themselves in a difficult dilemma. At this point, Sung Mei-ling spared no expense to specially invite the famous American doctor Dr. Habif to come and treat him. Habif was a renowned surgeon at New York Presbyterian Hospital and well known in the American medical community. However, some later claimed it was he who ultimately treated Chiang to death. After a careful diagnosis, Dr. Habif proposed a bold treatment plan, draining the fluid from Chiang's lungs. For a young person, such a procedure posed little risk. But for a man nearing 90, it was an extremely high-risk operation. The procedure required thoracentesis, puncturing the chest cavity, which could have catastrophic consequences if anything went wrong. Although many opposed the idea, no one could persuade Sung Mei-ling to give it up. Ultimately, the surgery was scheduled for March 19, 1975. Under intense focus and cautious execution by the medical team. The procedure was dangerous, but it was eventually completed successfully. That night, Chiang Kai-shek experienced some stress-related responses, and his condition became unstable. Fortunately, after aggressive antibiotic treatment, the symptoms gradually subsided. 2 days later, he slowly regained consciousness post-surgery. And things seemed to be improving. However, this seemingly successful operation ultimately failed to produce the desired results. In retrospect, it actually accelerated Chiang Kai-shek's overall health collapse. From that point on, he remained in a state of fluctuating lucidity, sometimes conscious, sometimes comatose. His mental state unstable, until his eventual death. On April 5, 1975, shortly after the Qingming festival, this day became the final one in Chiang Kai-shek's life. According to recollections of those close to him, Chiang's complexion that day actually seemed quite good, with a touch of rosiness in his cheeks. But in hindsight, this sudden improvement might have been what people often call the final rally before death. A temporary return of energy right before passing. That evening, seeing that his father appeared to be in decent spirits, Chiang Ching-kuo felt somewhat reassured. And went home for dinner, unaware that this would be their final farewell. After dinner, Chiang Kai-shek, supported by attendants, was helped into a wheelchair and slowly taken upstairs to rest. At that moment, the sky suddenly changed. Dark clouds rolled in. And soon, a torrential downpour began. Perhaps the coolness of the rain brought a sense of relief. Around 8 p.m., Chiang peacefully fell asleep. Not long after, doctors came for a routine checkup. And suddenly noticed his breathing was becoming slower and weaker. Feeling his pulse, they found it was also fading. Medical staff immediately began emergency resuscitation efforts. In the midst of this tense rescue, a large curtain in Chiang's room suddenly fell from the window, startling everyone present and creating a wave of ominous premonition. The atmosphere in the room instantly became like that of an ER. Doctors hurried to connect Chiang to various 4 lines and emergency equipment. The scene was extremely tense. Chiang's close aide, Zhu Changtai, later recalled that Sung Meiling requested doctors to give Chiang Kai-shek a sedative. But none of the attending physicians dared to administer the injection. At that very moment, thunder roared loudly outside, as if to add a sense of solemn finality to this farewell to life. Around 11:30 p.m., Chiang Kai-shek's pupils had already dilated. Although his heart still showed faint activity, the doctors had not yet given up. They continued resuscitation efforts using electric shocks and other means. But no matter how hard they tried, his vital signs continued to decline. Gradually, everyone realized Chiang Kai-shek's life was coming to an end. At last, Sung Meiling spoke and told the doctors to stop the resuscitation. She said, "What is meant to come will come." With those words, the matter was settled. That night, Chiang Kai-shek's life had finally reached a point beyond saving. At 11:50 p.m., the doctors officially pronounced Chiang Kai-shek dead. Li Dawei, the deputy director of internal affairs, immediately fitted him with false teeth to prevent the mouth from stiffening and locking shut after the body cooled. Then, his secretary Qin Xiaoyi brought out the will that Chiang had written during his lifetime. According to procedure, Vice President Yan Jiagan and other senior officials in Taiwan signed it one after another. And finally, Sung Meiling signed it as well. Chiang Kai-shek's body was scheduled to be transported at 2 a.m. on the 6th. It was carried onto an ambulance by his guards. Just as the body was being carried out the door, the rain outside suddenly stopped. The motorcade lined up in order, the lead vehicle, the ambulance, followed by the car carrying Sung Meiling and Chiang Qinghua. But before long, the rain started falling again, and the convoy drove through the night rain toward Taipei Veterans General Hospital. Chiang Kai-shek passed away peacefully in his sleep. His condition had deteriorated so rapidly that there was not even time for him to leave a final word. And so, in Taiwan, he quietly completed the final journey of his life. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.